Hey, it's Kyle, and I'm back with another edition of the Reentry Podcast at reentrypodcast.com. We record this here at 700 Reentry. If you have a reentry story to tell, please feel free to send me an email at kyle@federalprisontips.com, and we'll get you down here to Fort Lauderdale, Florida to be on the Reentry Podcast. Today, though, I've got a very, very special guest all the way from Queens, New York, Pastor Patrice Lopez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So I met you a couple of months ago, like over the summer, at the Dismas Halfway House here in Dania Beach. Tell me about that. How did we meet?
So they had an open house kind of thing, and Man Up Ministries was being highlighted or being asked to give a presentation. And my brother asked me to come to represent, as I am on the board, and I'm spiritual counsel for the ministry, to speak to those who were present about Man Up Ministry.
And what is Man Up Ministry?
Well, it's a ministry that my brother birthed while he was incarcerated. The Lord gave him the idea of helping men through Christ to re-enter into society. There's all kinds of help, but this help is to help a person to change from the inside out.
And are you the little sister or the big sister?
I'm the big sister of everybody.
You're the big sister. How did I kind of know that? I felt like I knew that already without even being told. So let's talk about Cloyd and Man Up Ministry. Did he always get in trouble as a kid? Was he one of those kids that didn't live up to his potential?
Yes, because he was always very, very bright. And my family, we didn't come from like a bad setting, project setting with no food. We really came from middle class, even upper middle class in an African-American neighborhood. But we sought out trouble for some reason.
So listen, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've heard that you may have sought out some trouble too.
I did. As I said, we grew up pretty affluent. We had everything. I drove my car to school at 16. I had my own car.
Oh, wow.
We weren't struggling. But my first husband passed away. My high school sweetheart, first love, all of those things passed away when I was 25.
Shoot.
Yes. And so I literally was ill prepared emotionally for that kind of loss. And I just found myself looking for a way to anesthetize myself, if you will.
So did you get involved in drugs and things like that?
I did. I ended up with a guy who was a big drug dealer, and I didn't know that he was, but I found out real quickly.
Oh, you found out.
And the way that I found out is, because we started getting close, and he started bringing that home. And I had never seen cocaine. I had never experienced it. And my first husband died in September 30th. December 24th of that same year.
Christmas Eve.
Yes, I tried cocaine for the first time.
Oh, snow on Christmas Eve.
Snow on Christmas Eve.
Imagine that.
And then it kept snowing.
And I heard that. And then today, like, we call you Pastor Patrice because you're really a pastor.
I certainly am. And I thank God for that transition. That was something I couldn't have done on my own. And if we all look back over our lives, all of us who have been through that kind of situation or that criminal activity, which, by the way, what amazed me the most is how quickly I developed a criminal mind.
You hear that, people? Because listen, Pastor Patrice, like you've acknowledged the fact that you and Cloyd and your family grew up in a decent home in the New York area, right?
Yes, in Long Island.
In Long Island. Okay, so in Long Island, so in a decent place. You drove a car to school at 16, and you're talking about, I don't want to put your age out there, but you're probably close to my age, so you're like mid-90s? Mm-hmm. Mid-90s, driving to school, and that wasn't as popular as it is now.
That's correct.
So
that's correct. Now everybody has a car.
Now everybody has a car.
Back then, it was a thing.
No, you had to take the cheese bus to school or have a car. So, but not only are you a pastor, I hear that you're also highly educated.
Yes, because that whole transition, like I said, the criminal mind developed very quickly. And one day, out of the blue, I woke up and just looked at myself in the mirror. And I think it was the first time that I saw myself after my first husband died. It was about 2.5 years after. And I'm looking at myself and I didn't recognize the person that was looking back at me. And that day I sat and I had a conversation with myself for 45 minutes. And I tried to figure out how I landed where I was. And I made a decision that day, and my mother can attest to this, that I was
Your mother's here right now.
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah, I met her a few minutes ago.
Yes. And she could attest to this. I made a decision that day that it was over. This is the last day. Now, by that time, I was selling drugs, doing drugs. I had a whole network.
I should have your mother on the show.
Yes, because she's dealt with all of us.
She's dealt with you, and Cloyd. You know, I love Cloyd to death. He's a great gentleman. You know, and I joke, but I don't think I've ever told Cloyd this, and I've told Nelson, but like, I'm a doer, obviously. Mm-hmm. You know, I got out of prison. I started this. Everybody, you were here over the summer. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different place today. We work our asses off over here. I'm a doer, and you know, when I'll be honest with you, that particular day, it was a CRB meeting. It's Community Relations Board for dismissed charities. Just so the audience knows, when all of the halfway houses that are under contract with the Bureau of Prisons, they have to have a quarterly meeting of the community, and that was that meeting. And I've been to a lot of these meetings, and I see a lot of folks get up on the stage or get up front of everybody and talk about what they're going to do for the people that are getting out. Everybody has this epiphany in prison. I'm going to help my brothers out when I get out. Most of the people fail at the execution. But, you know, it's like Cloyd's here doing it with Man Up Ministries. The background behind Man Up is he started it while he was in prison. He really worked on it hard at home on home confinement. He had nothing else to do. Right. And you know, I met him just days after he got off the ankle monitor, and he's really been here day in and day out building Man Up Ministries since that day. And just so we're clear, I mean, you came all the way from Queens, New York, but Cloyd is not like down the street. He's some miles up the road towards West Palm. But like, what was it like? Was Cloyd also somebody that got in trouble a lot before he did this? Sure.
Of course, he just got out of federal prison. I mean, it's
right. But I mean, before, so
if I told you the stuff that he did before that,
we know about the $40 million. We know about the $40 million timeshare fraud. And you know what? Sometimes I don't really feel bad about that, because the people that bought a timeshare are suckers.
Like, oh well, it goes with the territory, right?
Right. I mean, more power to them. Not really, though. But the thing is that I've noticed, and possibly it's brought down from your mother, but Cloyd has surrounded himself with women who are just amazing forces to keep the men around them doing the right thing. From Pastor Patrice to your own mom to Miss Karen over there. You know, it's. You guys have this holistic approach to faith-based reentry that, you know, sometimes, you know, and I said it, I believe I probably said it to Cloyd that day, you know, there's a lot of Christian for the stay people in prison.
Right.
But to be able to go to, you know, continue to go and to continue to be with the Lord is a big thing. You know, one of the things that Cloyd attests to from Man Up Ministries, manupministriesinc.com, is that he goes into the halfway houses now to give the word.
Yes.
Once a week.
Yes.
And the thing of it is, people at the halfway house, they go to church on Sunday. Right. They get a pass to go to church. Right. But a lot of them get a pass to go to church to get out of the halfways. Mm-hmm. To make the commitment to go to the day room or go to the cafeteria to meet with Brother Cloyd about the word for an hour or two once a week. You know, when you're an inmate, when you're a reentry in the halfway house, you have all kinds of other things to do. You got the cell phone, you got the job, you have passes, you can go out in the community. But these young men and women in the halfway house are turning to Man Up Ministries in droves, and I think that speaks volumes to what you guys are doing.
Well, if we can catch them before they re-enter. So the halfway house is like the place in between, right?
Right, of course.
Right? So in prison, they have the opportunity, as my brother did, to have Bible study. They had Bible study almost every day. Every day they could have Bible study. But you're there. And of course, we know that there are things available to you in prison that are available. Same things that are available out here are available
drugs
in there.
and
Right.
all kinds of
all
stuff.
of these things are available. However, the freedom to move around and get to those things is different. Once you get out in the world, you have freedom to do whatever, whenever. So if we can help you re-identify yourself, identify yourself, let's say, because a lot of them don't have an identity. The only identity they have is inmate number.
Right. Inmate number
29372, right? That's who you are, and that's who they would like to keep you as. If they can. It's my problem with like programs like AA. My problem with AA, although AA has helped millions of people, is I have to continually claim to be an alcoholic for the rest of my life. And I'm no longer, because if I'm in Christ, the Bible says I'm a new creature. That means I'm no longer the person that you labeled me as. And if I maintain that label throughout my life, there's no identity change.
Well, I mean, for you personally, like I following your story, it sounded like you fell off the wagon. You went to drugs and crime for like what, 2 years?
2.5 years, yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
I mean, and
that was it.
you're just about as old as I am. So how can 2 years define, a body of work that's 40, 50 years old?
Because that's what society does. If you sold drugs, you are a drug dealer, and that's who you are. Now, there are drug dealers who bankroll the whole community. But we don't talk about that part. We just talk about the fact that you are a drug dealer, and that's forever. And the way the federal system is set up, you can't easily get a job. You can't easily redefine yourself.
Do you know how much of the Miami skyline is drug money?
See?
I mean, it's a real thing. From the 80s and 90s, all the drug lords had to wash their money, and now there's 30-story condominium buildings in Miami.
So the community benefited from that money, but you'll always be known as the drug dealer, not the developer, not the person that fed the hungry in the neighborhood, not the person that paid people's bills when they couldn't. You are a drug dealer.
But now you're Pastor Patrice.
Now I'm Pastor Patrice. But that's the Lord's doing, not mine. I can thank him for that because I wouldn't have chosen to be Pastor Patrice. But through him, I became a new creature, and I have a new identity. I'm no longer the person that I was with passed away this year, the drug dealer person, who then went into jail, and that's how I became the drug dealer because I took over his business. So how did I develop that criminal mind in less than 8 months?
Right.
Like, that's how easy it is for Satan to catch us. It's easy, but trying to climb out of that hole, that spiral, you go down so easily. But trying to climb out of that hole takes something supernatural, takes something that's above us, right? And that's where God and his spirit come in.
And so what church do you work with?
I am a senior pastor of Kingdom Church of Deliverance Love Fellowship, which is in Queens, New York.
And do you do any work up there with people reentering society?
I have several young men who have come out of prison, and I don't know why, but I kind of attract that.
You like them bad, like my other half.
I just attract, and I don't mean like that. Like, I attract people come to me that are the people that society doesn't accept, right?
Well, I mean, I love you. I think you're great.
So I have several young men who have been in prison, state state level and as well as federal, and they are now reentering, and I'm helping them through Bible study, through, God made men to be the head of households, to be, they're amazing to head things, but you get to the bottom of the barrel when you go to prison. They just give you a number and that's who you are. So helping them come back into society and find themselves, find a new identity, find a legal hustle.
So let's go back to Cloyd for a second.
Yes.
When you guys were in New York and he made the decision to move to Florida, did you know that was going to be trouble?
Well, he made the decision because Karen was here.
Of course.
Karen moved here first. Cloyd had a drug problem at that time. He was addicted to cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And so his life there was falling apart. And Karen had moved here, and he was in prison, actually. He was in state prison. And when he came out, he came down here with Karen. So it wasn't a problem when he came. It was a good move because he was leaving all of the contacts.
All of that stuff in New York.
In New York, exactly. And when he first came here, he was doing great. And then he ran into these people who were doing this timeshare thing. And he had gotten shot and he couldn't work. He was home, he couldn't work.
Right, and he got shot, had nothing to do with
Nothing
crime.
to do with crime. He got shot at home. And
just a drive-by from some random kids.
yes, and when I came here for that, he was in ICU. He was in a trauma unit. They had him. He was completely naked. They had the wound was open because it was infected, and so they had to keep him like that. And I told him then, I said, God is trying to tell you something. He wants your life. He's cleaning you up to use you for his glory. He ended up going home after months. And they said he wasn't going to walk. They said all these things, and you see him.
He's walking right now. He's watching us.
He's watching us, right? So, and then he couldn't work, and his friend said, "Hey, I have a job for you where you can work at home," and that's how he got involved with this timeshare thing. And then he was really good at it because he has the gift of gab, and so he was really good at it and moved up in the company,
did.
and that's how he ended
And when
up.
you get, because my crime's a high dollar money crime too. I mean, when you get there, it's just I can go a little bit longer. I can go a little bit longer. Okay, they're not catching me now. I can go a little bit longer. But now, he's been out of prison. He was on the ankle monitor for a couple years, and now he's out doing the Man Up Ministries thing. What are you hoping for tonight? They're having a big fundraiser. And you guys got a lot of people here already. What are you guys hoping to do with Man Up? What's next for Man Up Ministries?
Well, he needs funding to be able to, go in and out of these halfway houses. He needs Bibles. You need to be able to hand these guys a Bible. You're telling them about the Lord. They don't have a lot of resources. If you can hand them a good study Bible and help them get to the next level, he needs funding. So we're hoping that it's hard to get people interested in ministry, right?
It is.
It's people are more, they'll say, okay, computer training. Yes, we understand that. But to understand helping someone from the inside out to change their identity, the redemption process, to help them walk through that they become productive citizens because they have a better self-esteem, more self-confidence, understanding who they are in God. And that's what this ministry is about. So it's hard to get people to buy in.
It is. I totally get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great group of people that you have assembled, and people are being receptive to it, which is, the reentrants and at the halfway houses are receptive to it. And I'm thinking that it's going to be great. What is your degree in?
So I have a bachelor's in religious studies, and I have a master's degree in theology.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and everybody's like, "You going for your doctorate?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no."
Too much.
Too much. It's hard work, and I have the church, and I have a ministry for women, and I have so many different things. I'm helping my brother with Man Up Ministry, helping people and watching people find out who they are in Christ is what makes me thrive.
And is this what your calling is? Is this your calling to do this?
Yes, absolutely. This is all, when I'm not fulfilled unless I am telling somebody about Christ, helping somebody find out how much he loves them, helping ministries like my brother's ministry who, he's helping nobody understands redemption like someone who's at the bottom of the barrel, right? And we take people who are great people and we put them at the bottom of the barrel when we put them in the federal. There's not. Oh yeah. There's no. There's nothing there to help you grow or help you better yourself. It's punitive, right?
They say there is, but
they say there is, right? But we know that it's really all about breaking you.
Right. But then when you turn to organizations like Man Up Ministries, or even our 700 Reentry Center, I think one of the keys to the whole thing is lived experience.
That's right.
And
exactly.
That's why Cloyd is resonating so well with the men and women that he's helping, because they see him as one of them, just like they see me as one of them as well.
And that's why you're so effective, because you have that kinship. You understand, you're not judging, you're not looking down. I am you. That's basically what you say. And it's why, even though you're not all into this religious part that we're doing, but you understand the need for it because you have firsthand dealt with these feelings that we talk about.
I feel, I'm not a very religious person myself, but my personal feeling is that whatever it is that's going to help somebody create a sustainable future, not turn back to criminal justice, the criminal system or the penal system, I'm all for it. Whether it's believing in God or, going and moving to a farm or whatever it is, because I've met all kinds of people that have done all kinds of things as they make the transition from prison to the street. What was the hardest part about supporting, a brother who had a sizable prison bid? Cloyd had 15 years, I think.
He sure did.
Was the original bid.
That's exactly what it was. And for years, I wouldn't say it. So if you asked me, how long is your brother in jail for? I refused to say the words.
15 years?
I refused. I wouldn't say
Were you there at sentencing?
We weren't allowed to be, because it was in where was it, Milwaukee or someplace like that? Yeah, everything that happened with him happened out of state. They took him out of state to do all of it. So I didn't see my brother until he got to, what's it called, in Brooklyn?
MDC.
Yes. When he came there, and they brought him there to try to break him, to try to get him to change his not change it, but they wanted to add more time. So
he told us.
Yeah, they wanted to take his property. So they wanted him to say that he money laundered, which he never did. So they had him there, and they did everything to break him there. They even up to and including taking his visits away. It was really hard to go, especially to a place like that, and see him there. And, just look in his eyes and see the fight that he was in. It was really, really difficult. But I was there throughout the entire bid. He would call me for prayer. We prayed. We fasted together. When he found God, it was everything I had prayed for. So our conversations got deeper and stronger. And when he came home and he was doing this ministry, there's no way I wasn't going to be a part of that. It was what I prayed for him to be, and he's exactly what I prayed for.
That's just a fantastic story. Cloyd's a great guy, and the whole Man Up Ministries, what he's trying to do is a very noble cause. We're glad that he's one of our partners here at 700 Reentry. I'm really glad that you came down here. We tell everybody that you just came down for me.
I did.
We'll go get dinner somewhere else.
I did. I came down for Kyle.
But no, I just think that you're just, it's partially just you're so easy to talk to. And I guess, I didn't know when we met over the summer that you had the lived experience, but you do.
I do. I even have jail experience, but that's another story for
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like, before we go, how did you manage to stay out of prison?
I didn't go to prison.
Right. You stayed out of prison. So how did you manage to do that?
Well, so I had if I tell you what I did, it was pretty bad. I had like 5 customers, and they were wealthy customers. So I only had.
Is this in Long Island?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I can imagine.
And so they would come for a weekend, let's say, and check into a hotel and buy weight from me. And I had like 4 girls that worked with me. They would go party with them. They would steal back half of what I sold them. And I'd sell it back to them when they ran out.
That's the best way to do the business. So,
and I thought of that all by myself. This is what I mean. Where did the criminal mind come from?
But you never went to prison.
So I went to jail, and I actually got indicted. I never went to prison for selling weight. Thank God. And because they only had me on like a sale to one of the little crackheads that would come. Right. So it was like a small amount, and I got indicted for it, and I was in jail for some time. And when I went to court, my lawyer said, "Don't say anything." He said, "This judge, his daughter died of an overdose. You're going to jail today," because he gives every first-time offender, he gives them time. And when they asked me if I had something to say, I said I do. And I spoke to the judge about the fact that my first husband died. And I said after he died, I lost my mind, literally. And this is a product of that. And my son doesn't deserve. By that time, I was working, I was productive. They have 6 months to indict you?
Yeah.
The very last day I got indicted.
That happens all the time in the feds.
Right.
In the feds, you have 5 years, and so many people get indicted in like 4 years and 10 months.
Yeah, I got indicted like the last week that they had. And so by that time I was working, and, I was productive. I had gone to jail and decided for that little bit of time, I don't want to go there. So I had kind of turned it around by then. And I appealed to the judge, and he pulled his glasses down and looked at me, and he said, "They say intelligent people learn from their mistakes." He said, "I believe you were dealt a bad hand and you made a bad decision. And I'm going to give you a shot, but don't ever come before me again."
And you haven't.
No, sir.
Thank goodness.
No,
but
sir.
I mean, the byproduct of that, the deep education, the now new life of Pastor Patrice. I mean, you aren't a drug dealer to me. You're always going to be Pastor Patrice.
Thank God for that.
And that's, when Cloyd asked about the fundraiser, he's like, "Hey, you mind if we have a fundraiser here in November?" I said, "Yeah, but Pastor Patrice has to come."
I'm here, Kyle. I'm here.
You are.
And yeah, meeting you, that was all a godsend. Like, I believe that God ordered our steps and made our paths cross because he needed something he needed someone like you. He needed something like this. And I do believe that it was all a godsend. You're a godsend.
I appreciate that. Do you have social media channels or anything that people can
my church is on Kingdom Church of Deliverance, Love Fellowship on Facebook. We're on Instagram under that name.
Okay.
You can find us there. You can find me under Pastor Pilo on Instagram.
Pastor Pilo. That sounds so cool. I gotta have to look for that. Pastor Pilo. I know you've looked at me, but I don't ever get to follow anybody back. But thank you so much for coming this is it. You just came down for the podcast. Thank you for coming all the way from Queens, New York. And we'll see you next time. You can find this whole episode at reentrypodcast.com.
Thank you.